Hello friends! Welcome to another month of Living Water TV. This month I want to spend a little bit of time talking through what I call the seasons of our life. I believe that as we go through our journey and we experience things and we learn things and things in our life change, that we phase in and out of these seasons. Different focuses, different dreams, different balances, different. And that's okay. And that, I believe, is the natural balance that should be happening. We should be growing and changing, evolving all of the time. And we can't think that we can have all these things happen to us and not change with it and step into that next season. I was talking to a friend of mine this week, and she's struggling right now. She's got some things that have changed recently, nothing huge, but over the last 6 months, some things have changed that where she is now compared to where she was 6 months ago isn't the same place. She's learned things that have changed her perspective. She's had experiences, even small ones, that have shifted where she sees things from. Couple of things in her life have changed, but nothing that would be drastic or considered drastic by themselves. But she's feeling very off. She called me, she says, "Robin, I'm just feeling off. Can you help me talk through this and see if we can figure out what's going on?" So I did. And I was talking, and she was sharing these things, these small things have changed, and her perspectives have, shifted a little bit, but she's still doing the same thing she was doing 6 months ago. That's what I asked her. I said, "So these little things have changed." I said, "So have you reset your goals?" She's like, "No, haven't really done that." I said, "Have you changed things at all in your daily life? Have you done anything different?" She's like, "Well, I really haven't made any significant changes." I said, "Well, you've just told me that some of these things in your life have shifted. So you've learned this thing and you've had this experience and now you see things slightly different and you understand that perspective, but you haven't changed anything in how you live your life to align with your change in perspective." She's like, "No, I really haven't. I haven't even thought about it." Because it wasn't a huge life event. It wasn't a divorce. It wasn't a huge, thing like that. She didn't lose her great job. She didn't have an impactful death in her family. It was just a lot of little things accumulated. And sometimes change happens that way. It doesn't always come in with a roar and a bang. Sometimes it gradually creeps in. Like that extra 10 pounds that you didn't have 5 years ago slowly creeps in. Same kind of thing. So I asked her, and she's like, "That's a good thought. I didn't think about that. You're right. I have changed in the last 6 months, at a minimum in the last 6 months, but I haven't changed anything in my life." So after talking with her, it occurred to both of us that she's just feeling off because she's not aligned with who she is now. She didn't change anything. The things happened, but she didn't take control and change anything. And that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to spend more time, and let's unpack that a little bit more this month. And as I'm preparing for our time together, I get into the Bible, and I, give God a chance to give me some words He wants me to share. And He brought me Ecclesiastes 3:1. It's perfect. "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. The things you were doing 10 years ago are not the things you are doing now, as it should be. And if we don't embrace these changes when they occur in our seasons, it throws us off. It makes us feel imbalanced. It makes us anxious. For some reason, we worry about things. And it's because deep down, we're not aligned with the true intention of how our path is supposed to unfold. Does that make sense? So let's look at ourselves a little bit. So as I was talking to her, I actually realized that there were a couple of things that I was hanging on to that weren't really beneficial for who I am and what I'm doing today, but were great 5 years ago. And so after talking with her, I did an assessment of myself. So we're going to do that a little bit today. I want to take a look at where you are today, and if any area kind of feels off, and if it makes sense to change something. And if it makes sense to change it, then you have to take the action to change it. That's the most frustrating thing that I think that it's one of my pet peeves, right? It's so frustrating when people reach out for help and we talk, and my talks with other people help me just as much as it does them. So I'm so thankful that God brought me that path and outlet. But with that said, when I'm talking with someone 3 months ago and I run into him again, and we had a deep conversation 3 months ago, I was like, "Yeah, you're right. We should, I should look at that." And I walk away with my own, "Yeah, I need to look at that too," based on whatever that conversation was. And then 3 months later, I talk to that person, and they're in the exact same place they were. And they want to vent discuss, let it out again, because I'm a listening ear of the same crap they had 3 months ago. And I said, well, have you tried to change anything? Have you done anything? Have you done any of the things we talked about? Nope, I just didn't, or I didn't have time, or no, I just, well, and him and haw about it. So 3 months later, they're at the same exact place they were 3 months before because they haven't taken any action. Look, growth is growth. Everybody's supposed to grow and change. Seasons, we phase into things. We phase out of things. We phase into things. We phase out of things. People phase into our life. People phase out of our lives. In natural progression, it's natural. It's the balance. It's what's supposed to happen. But if you live in a rut of the same thing, and you don't do anything to do anything different, and you expect tomorrow to be different, you're crazy. It's not going to be different. For anything to be different, you, looking in the mirror, you, me, you have to make the change. If we don't take action, nobody's going to fix it for us. Come on, that shiny white knight's not showing up. You are your own white shiny knight. You are the person in the mirror is the only person who can make that change in your life that's going to make a significant change for your betterment. Okay? Now, I'm not saying people don't come into our lives and make our lives better. They do. Obviously, we're communal. We're supposed to do that. We walk into people's lives and hopefully we make their lives better. But the agenda of somebody else is always going to be not 100% your agenda and your outcome. So if someone's, we're talking and I get some help out of it, well, their answer isn't necessarily 100% going to change what I need to have changed because they can't see everything that goes on in here. And even though they care and they love for me, their intention isn't 100% purely for me. It's just not. It's just not the way we work. So if I'm waiting on that person to make a change in my life to make my tomorrow different, that just doesn't make any sense to me. The only person who can do that is you. Okay? So, soapbox. I'm going to put that away for right now for just a little bit. So let's talk about this. Let's look at your life. Okay? We talk about the awareness. Awareness is the number one tool you can have for making any growth or progression in your daily life. Being aware of the words that come out of your mouth, what you allow to come out of your mouth, the things that you allow into your programming, into your heart. These things, you control them, but you can only control them when you start to become aware. The past that we carry with us, right? You do that unknowingly until you start to pay attention. And then once you pay attention, you become aware. You see it, you can take action to change it. Action to change it. You have to change something, right? Growth is about change. You have to change something. So if we're looking at our life and like my friend, if there's anything, any aspect in your life, look through your life as you're going through today. Pay more attention today. Pay more attention tomorrow. Say, okay, does anything feel off? Am I just feeling off? Is there an area that just doesn't seem like it's clicking? Write that down in your journal. Okay, just write it down. First day or two, I just want you to start to become aware of it, right? Yeah, this feels a little weird. This isn't set, think about it, pray on it, say, okay, that's right. That doesn't feel quite right. I'm going to write it down. I'm not saying all those things you write down are things you should change, but I want you to write them down. And then at the end of the day, I want you to go back and I want you to look at that list and say, okay, all right, so I'm looking at this list. Some things that, aren't really feeling like they click anymore. I'll give you an example. I was in a rut of reading the same type of book with a certain type of focus. And I've been there for a couple of years where I was just digging in and digging in and digging in and digging in. And things were repetitive, because truths are truths. You'll hear the same truths across multiple venues. That's how you know it's a truth a lot of times. So I was just hearing repetitive things, but I got in a rut of that's what I always went to when I wanted to have my reading time or my self-growth time or whatever outside of the Bible. I would pick these kinds of books. Very specific topic. I'm not going to share that. It's not important. So when I was talking to my friend, I'm like, I just haven't had as much joy or aha moments, or it's just like, I'm reading again. Great, I got my reading in today. But I didn't really make any big changes. I didn't get any aha moments. I'm like, oh, that's great. Or there wasn't a whole lot of that going on, if any, in the last couple months, actually. So I'm like, you know what? That's one thing I hasn't really felt right. Because when I read, and when I bring stuff into my mind, I get aha moments. I'm like, oh, that's good. That correlates to what I blah and bloody blah. it synchronizes, right? And it gets powerful and you get energy from it. Well, I've been missing that. And I didn't realize I had been missing that until I had this conversation with my friend. So I'm looking at that, and I did the same thing, just as I'm telling you, everything I tell you to do, I do. So I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I don't already do. So that's what I did. I came home and I was writing these things out, and that's one thing I'm like, oh, you know what? That is something. This hasn't felt right. It felt off. Not that I was anxious necessarily, but just wasn't right. It didn't feel right. I wasn't getting out of it what I got out of it a year ago. So I changed. I picked up a different style of book or a different topic of book, and I started to have, oh, that's really good. I really needed to hear that today moments again. So it doesn't have to be anything large. It can be something small like that, but it can be something large also, right? If you look at your list and there's a whole bunch of stuff, or just a general feeling of being off, or just I'm always anxious. I don't know why I'm anxious. I'm just like this all the time, and I don't understand it because I wasn't that way a couple years ago. Maybe you do need a significant change in your life. Maybe you do need to say, okay, that's an indicator that there's something big in my life that I just need to change. And oftentimes when you start having that conversation with yourself, you know what that thing is. It could be, letting a friend that you've had for a long time who isn't beneficial in your life. Not that that's what I mean. It's not that we have friends just to get things out of them, but if they're not conclusive, they're not conducive, that's the right word, with what's going on in your life right now, and they're fighting you on things and not supportive, and it's just not clicking, maybe it's time to let them back off for a little while and see if that brings your life some balance, right? Maybe you should look for a different job. Maybe where you are right now isn't bringing you it's not bringing you the joy, and even worse, it could be pulling you down, because not everyone loves their job. I get it. Right? There's parts of my job I don't love too. But, we go to work. And if you're going to work stresses you out and causes anxiety in the rest of your life, then it's time to change. It's something you have to do different. Either you walk into that job and you've made a change, that you've accepted it differently, right? Accept it for what it is. It's a job, so your money, so you can pay for the things that are important for you and to have the lifestyle that you want. Or you find a job that brings you some kind of joy. Or you find something else in your life that can bring joy to help balance that out. But these are the things you have to look at. Nobody knows those. Nobody knows my heart. Nobody knows your heart better than you do. You have to assess where you are. You have to assess what you're doing, and you have to see which things you need to change. Okay? I know, not everyone can just step away from a job that they have right now. I get it. But there are things you can do. You can shift your perspective that when you go to job, it's just a job. I'm going here to get this outcome. And that's all it is. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to do what I have to do. Then I'm going to come home to the beautiful bounty that I have in my home of warm, loving, caring, whatever. And if you don't have warm, loving, caring in your home, make your home warm, loving, caring. Okay? Your house and your home should be your safe haven from all the other chaos in your world. And that's what my friend, that's one of the things she was missing. When she came home, she didn't feel warm, safe, and secure. She felt more stressed. All she saw was a pile of laundry. All she saw was dishes, or the kids screaming, or the nighttime chaos from after her daytime chaos. She came home to her nighttime chaos. Well, now she knows that she controls how that chaos impacts her, or how she perceives that chaos. Do you know what I mean? So when she comes home now, she's going to work on switching her perspective from, I don't have to do that. I get to do that. I get to come home to a house full of kids because I've been blessed by these children. I get to help them with their homework. I get to get them in the bath. I get to help them with dinner because this is valuable time that they're never going to forget. And I have the time now I'm spending with them. I get to do that instead of I have to. Because when you have to do something, then you have a negative overtone over it. So this is the one takeaway she's going to take. It's not huge. She's shifting her perspective. But she has to take the change. Look, it's pure insanity to think that you can do the same thing over and over each and every day and expect a different outcome tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And the only person in your life that can make those changes to change tomorrow is you. Okay? So let's work on that. Let's work on that together. Let's take an assessment of where you are. Okay? Let's look at that and see if there are things in there that you feel just aren't right. And then I want you to come up with an answer of what would make them better. What things could you change? What one big thing could you do tomorrow different to bring you a better sense of balance, to bring you a warmer sense in the moments that you need it, to put that job in the right perspective, to put that family in the right perspective? I don't have to vacuum my floor. Thank God I have floors to vacuum. I get to. Do you see what I mean? So this is huge, and it's natural. So we have to assess our lives as we go through these seasons, and we have to take control and acknowledge the fact that we're the ones driving how we transition from season to season. Okay, you're in control. We talk about that all the time. You're in control. This is a different aspect of something that you can look at that you do control. Okay, but you have to get off your butt and do it. You can't just be that person that I'm going to meet again in 3 months and have the same exact complaints, the same exact story. Oh, he's still doing blah, blah, blah. Or my mom is still blah. Okay, how have you done anything to change that? Okay? What have we done? Did you try to switch your perspective so you can find joy in the moments of work that you're doing? Have you done any of these things, right? You have to take control, and you're the only one to do it. Okay, so I guess my message for you this month is understand that our life is seasonal. Okay, it's going to phase in and phase out of things. Okay, and if we don't embrace those changes and take action to support some of the things that are happening in our lives in a positive way, you're going to feel imbalanced. You're going to feel anxious, and you're going to worry, and it's just going to be an unhappy place. So you have to become aware, and you have to roll with the changes, but you have to take action. Okay, you can't just sit in the same spot day after day after day and expect things to be different. Just doesn't make sense. Okay, people often quote that misquote that as being an Albert Einstein quote. He never really said that, but what was it? He said, he's quoted as saying, insanity is doing the same thing day after day and expecting a different outcome. Didn't quite get that right, but he often is quoted for saying that. He never said that. He said something similar, but not like that. But it's a great quote. It's a perfect example. So do that, guys. Look at your day-to-day. Okay? Don't walk in tomorrow expecting it to be different if you don't make a change today. Pick up your big boy pants. Look at your life. Take responsibility and make the change. Make the change. Only you can do it. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Okay? Just like that somebody else doesn't get to control your happiness, that other person isn't going to come in and save you either. You're the only one who can save you. So do it. Okay? God is with you. He tells us in the Bible, this is normal, this is natural, this is the natural balance. So embrace it. Acknowledge it. Become aware of it. And make the changes to support those natural transitions in our seasons. Okay? You guys can do this. It's a great time to think about it. It's fall. We're rolling into fall right now. What a great time to assess our own lives for seasonal changes. All right. And with that, my friends, I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful month, and we'll speak again soon. Bye-bye.